Are we live? We are live. Welcome back to New Year here at the Exponential Files. This is a show all about real estate. It's all about eXp. It's all about luxury. It's all about whatever you want it to be. We have and my co-host Larry Lawford's here. I'm Jim Lowenstern. We do this every week. We have a great guest on today. I think Janie's been on before, but it's been too long. Janie Coffey is, she's based in St. Augustine, Florida. She's also one of the 4 council members at a new division of eXp called eXp Luxury. And we're going to do a deep dive with Janie today about all things luxury. Welcome,
Awesome.
Janie.
Hey guys, thank you for having me again. I really like spending time with you and just talking about all the great things that agents are kind of dealing with, because it's always different, right? Every 3 months, every 6 months, our playing field changes. So we've got to stay current and on topic and moving forward, because nothing stays the same, which is cool.
With the new year, we definitely have a lot to talk about. We have an interesting economy with interest rates higher. Every day there's going to be another report. This market is getting a little softer. Fewer people are qualifying. People don't want to move because they locked in low rates. But the luxury segment of the market seems a little more resilient in some ways. Typically those people are buying cash sometimes. They don't have to worry about the interest rates as much. That keeps it buoyant. So eXp Luxury, let's talk about that. So I'm an eXp agent. I got certified for the luxury division. And I'm asking for all of those other eXp agents and even agents that may not be with us yet, who are in luxury sales. Why would they come to eXp? Would it be for the luxury division? But what's the first thing I should do? It's a new division, so I want to learn. I want to learn, what steps I should be taking. Where do I find the new logo for my marketing? What am I doing for my listings that I hadn't done previously, etc.
Okay, so let's break it down, because we kind of have 3 different groups of people we might be talking to.
Yes.
On the most granular level, we'd be talking to the eXp agents who have already qualified to join the luxury division. And I'll kind of talk about that for a minute. And then the next tier of agents would be agents who are interested, who are already at eXp, and they're interested in the luxury division. They're interested in joining the luxury division, but they're not in the division yet. And then we have agents who are outside of eXp, either currently luxury agents or wanting to grow into luxury, who are interested in the model that eXp provides agents, and layering on top of that the added benefits of the luxury division. Does that make sense as a kind of way to go through
Yes.
all of this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yes, as you said, I am one of the 4 luxury agent council members out of 88,000 members, which is a huge honor. And it's also a big responsibility for us to be able to deliver to all of the eXp agents, or all the people who might join the luxury division, a really robust and valuable program. And the 4 of us came together and were asked to be part of this because we've been very, very passionate about luxury real estate and providing tools and networking and training for agents to build their luxury business on. All of us come from a luxury background in sales, some of us in management as well. And we've been in this space for a very, very long time. I probably should add up the amount of years we have between us, but it's significant. And we love the company of eXp. We love the model and the freedom it gives agents. But up until now, there really hasn't been a lot of tools provided from the company or accessible through the company to build luxury sales, to market our luxury listings, and to come together with our fellow luxury agents. So that was kind of born. It's been a multi-year kind of bubbling up kind of process. And just this past fall of 2021, 22, finally it all came together. We pulled the right people together, the right resource together, the right partners together, and have come up with this luxury division, which is a full comprehensive division for agents. So we have marketing tools, both tools to go out and get luxury listings, to market your luxury listings once you have them, including very robust online premium listing distribution like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Robb Report, the things that luxury sellers are normally asking, like, hey, where are you marketing my property besides the MLS? What are you going to do differently? Then on top of that, we have a whole separate set of collateral materials, including logos that are only available to be used by members of the luxury program, um, listing presentation, pages and supplements, a marketing plan, a very robust marketing plan, postcards, business cards, sign templates, all of that to really create a standalone recognizable listing division within eXp. And then all of us have our own space that we're housed together, where we have bi-monthly trainings and masterminds on topics to help us grow our business, especially like you said, in this shifting market, best practices, where we can also come together and network, share referral opportunities. Because if I had a referral, say in Boston, and I didn't know you, I would want to try to find a luxury agent in my own brokerage in Boston to handle my luxury referral. So we have that opportunity. And then, of course, live training opportunities when we have our corporate events like eXpCon or shareholders. And then finally, on top of all of that, quite a few discounts because eXp is so large. They have a much bigger buying power than any of us individually or some smaller brokerages. So we have a whole host of discounts that are going to be available to agents within the luxury division that will help them grow their business as well. So it's a very robust and complete program, from training, tools, networking, marketing, collateral, and everything all wrapped up into one program. So that's
Yeah.
for the people in
So let's talk a little bit about the money. I mean, there is a fee. There's
yeah,
a certification. You have to either be a luxury broker and be able to have a certain amount of production at a certain price point and
right,
all that, or you can be uh, trained.
certified,
You
yeah,
you can certified. Uh, Now the benefits certainly are far exceeding uh, the um, the costs involved. I mean,
correct,
I did. I think you mentioned Lux VT. That's just one aspect of it, and you can have 10 concurrent listings at a time. And the marketing there alone, I totaled it up to be like over $100,000 a year if you had 120 listings, like 10 different listings every month versus, I don't know, it's a couple $1,000s or something. Is that
right.
about right?
Yeah, so I don't think most luxury agents are normally going to carry 120 listings in a year, but even if they carry 20 at a time, or 10 at a time that they were selling every 6 months, it's significant. Just the benefits that we're getting through that online distribution is probably close to $1,000 per listing. The benefits that we're receiving. Me personally, what I've been able to replace that I was already spending year after year after year for the past years prior to joining eXp and prior to joining this division was, $10,000, $20,000 easily, hard money out my credit card, um, annually. So it's significant. The online premium listing distribution is very, very, very costly. If you, as an individual agent, were to go to the Wall Street Journal and try to place that ad in their online section, or the New York Times, sometimes I think it's like $200, $300 per listing per month per portal. So, and we're going to be, like I said, Robb Report, Barron's, Mansion Global, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. That's significant. On top of that, eXp is a global company. So then we have access to marketing our listings globally, which is what a lot of people want to know when they have a luxury listing is like, how are you going to market outside of, our local MLS? I don't think my buyer is likely going to come from my local MLS. I think they're probably going to come from, wherever, Europe, Asia, South America, China, so we have very robust international distribution for our listings and through our global partners because we are in what, Jim, 20 something countries,
23 or 24.
23 or 24 countries. So yeah, it's a
and it's
huge
growing.
savings.
But that's like a side topic I can just cover in a moment because a lot of people don't comprehend it's not the size of the company, but it's the size of the business model and the philosophy and the idea behind it.
Yeah,
We are global. So when we say we're in 23 or 24 countries, that means we've officially opened those countries.
correct.
I have in one of my groups an agent in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is not officially open yet, but he's also licensed in Australia. And he's certainly going to be doing business in Costa Rica, and Costa Rica will someday be open officially. As
Right.
I just look at it like the whole planet is open now, because if you're out there doing business and you're licensed in any of those 23 or 24 countries, all your sales funnel through anyway. I don't think they want us doing business in other countries, even if they're not
No, of
officially
course.
open, and not push the paperwork through. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's probably the case. I'm bringing an agent on today in New Mexico, and she's also licensed in Mexico. And she said, well, I'll just stay with Coldwell Banker in Mexico and eXp in New Mexico. I go, no, that doesn't work to your advantage because
Right.
you're going to cap sooner with the Mexico listing. So we don't do it anyway, but I'm off track. But yeah,
So
Can
today,
those
I
are the
can I can I
tools.
jump in and ask a question? You were talking
please.
about a luxury mastermind and how that's available. Some agencies will not allow. So if you're not a luxury agent, and however that's defined, it's usually defined about you sell luxury properties, and luxury has a real estate definition. But if you have not met that, but that is your goal and that's what you want to do, can you come into these luxury mastermind groups and listen to what's being talked about?
So the luxury division is just for people who have joined the luxury division, and there's two
Okay.
paths to joining the luxury division. One is through production, and they EXP categorizes that as three transactions in the last 24 months that are either three times the average sales price in your MLS or $1 million, whichever is lower. So, for example, if in my MLS the average price point was 300,000, three times that is 900,000. So, if I had three transactions at 900,000, um, I submit that documentation in the last 24 months, and I'm considered qualified. I join based on my sales, my production. Um, and they have that 900,000 or a million because maybe in, I don't know, LA or Hawaii, maybe the average price point is, let's say, $3 million. I don't know, just making up stuff.
We're
Easily.
by the way, here in Newton, we're 1.8 million is the average price
Yeah,
last month.
so it's
So
three times the average MLS in the average sales price in your MLS or $1 million in the last 24 months. That's to join the luxury program based on certification.
sure.
If you don't have that, if you haven't sold those kinds of properties or it's been a long time, you can come in through what's called certification. EXP offers a certification course. There's other courses that I think are going to be honored in lieu of the EXP one. So somebody who doesn't have the sales yet can take the certification class, get certified, and then join the luxury division through that certification process. And then they can take part of the masterminds. There's lots and lots at EXP. There's lots of luxury training available to everybody for luxury. So I'm at EXP,
and it's free, right?
it is free. I'm an EXP university instructor. So I teach a course right now on how to leverage this shifting market to gain more luxury market share while the market shifts. So when the market stabilizes or changes, you've actually grown your market share. That's free training in EXP University. And there's tons. It's not just, I'm not the only instructor teaching that. There's many different ways you can get that. But for the smaller group of agents who really want to come together at a high level, you're not going to have access to the mastermind unless you've joined the division, either through production or certification.
All right. Well, thank you. So there are a variety of other luxury marketing through groups like Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist is one.
Yeah.
I think almost every agency has their own luxury division. How is this better? How is this different?
I don't think that one is better or different. I think that what we have that, in my opinion, is better or different, we have the EXP model, we have the global company, and now we have the luxury division on top of that with all the tools. Meaning, I have been with other luxury premium brokerages. Sometimes they're not global, sometimes they don't have the training. Sometimes they don't have our model. So for me, it's the trifecta of being global, having the model that we have at EXP, and then having the luxury division all together. And it checks all of my boxes to be able to build my business in a way that it's my business. One of the challenges or things that I moved away from, because I was with Sotheby's for 8 years, I owned my own brokerage for 5, and I was a Compass founding agent for 3 years. And one of the reasons I wanted to move away from those brokerages is you were very much tied up in the identity of being an agent with that brokerage, where that model of being an XYZ broker agent, I think, was really great and useful before the advent of social media, before blogging existed, before social media existed. But the last 10 years, maybe even 5 to 15 years, if you broaden it out a little bit, has really created the environment for agents to really make themselves a brand and ride on the platform of a brokerage. And that's what EXP is doing. And in doing that, we have a completely different split structure and compensation package. So instead of me continuing to pay my past brokerages so much money, I can take that additional money and put it back into my business. And in this case, like Jim's saying, there is a cost to the luxury division. Instead of me paying a never ending split to a brokerage to get similar listing distribution,
Right.
now I pay a small fee at the beginning of the year. I cap at EXP very early on. And then all the rest of that money goes into my own business or my own pocketbook, however you want to
I
divert your
think that's
money.
one of I think that's one of the greatest benefits is everybody knows who's actually producing, knows
Yeah,
that you are hired. Your agency isn't hired. You
right.
are hired. So EXP allows you to build your own brand. And they're not dictating that a third of everything has to be their logo and it has so that in itself is huge for agents who are entrepreneurial. And if you're not entrepreneurial, you probably shouldn't be in real estate anyway.
Yeah. I will say,
But
I think
even
that,
I was
go
just going
ahead.
to say, even the vernacular has changed. I mean, 10 years ago, the word influencer, I mean, it was a word, but you didn't understand what it would mean in a sentence if you said, "Oh, Janie's a luxury real estate influencer." She's what?
Right.
I was talking to a broker a month ago in New York, and he was telling me how his brother was a real estate influencer. It's like, it just, okay, what does he do? And he had started explaining what he did. And then I started realizing this is really a company of real estate influencers. They just, in some cases, know it. Like the guy we had on last week, Renzo, he clearly understood it. He's driving a Ferrari up to a $20 million house with a drone, following him down the country road and everything in Miami. Um, but not all of them get it, even though they can. So yeah, even in my magazine, we're starting to have something called influencer pages.
Right.
And we're going to have links, because it's a digital magazine, links to the agents' websites. And it all ties into what you're talking about with social media and just a new way of looking at ourselves and where we
Right.
fit in this world.
We really have a much more borderless environment
Right.
now in general in real estate or in the world. But at EXP specifically because of
Right,
both
because it's
model
not
and
franchised
right,
or it's not a regional, mom and pop or whatever. I mean, you could have 30 offices, but I was going to ask you a question about Compass. Is a great analogy. Big company, publicly traded, national in scope, even though they're probably not in all 50 states. Are they in other countries? I really don't even know. If,
they're
if
not.
I'm a if I'm a Compass luxury agent, how do I network like I would be able to network at eXp, which is a global company already? What would the challenge be, or is it all the same?
Well, like you said, they're not global. That's one of the reasons a few Compass agents have joined me from Compass was because their sellers were really expecting them to be with a global company. Um, but no, they have a lot of subgroups within Compass, like a sports and entertainment division, which we do have. And these other subgroups that agents themselves had pulled together to network with each other, like affinity networking. So they have that. It's not company driven, it's agent driven. Um, but so that's different. What we have is now a company driven, company supported division. And you can be a luxury agent at EXP and not join the division. It's completely optional. Um, but the benefits of what you get for your membership far outweigh the rather small annual cost. So I don't want
Clearly.
people to think they have to join it. It's I'm super, super excited about it. And there's a lot of excitement outside of EXP as well, because there's been so many agents who have loved the model of EXP, have really believed in the model of EXP, who are currently at, let's call them legacy premium brands. But up until a few years ago, they didn't like the EXP logo. And let's call a spade a spade. It was not the most attractive logo in the past. That's long been changed over the past 2 years. It's become a very just simple, sleek logo. But now we have a global luxury logo as well. Um, and just the whole collateral is changing, the networking and everything. So the door is finally open to these agents who have wanted to join EXP, but were cautious or nervous because they didn't either have the tools or they just didn't simply like the branding. Now they have branding that is on par with any of these legacy premium brokerages, as well as the tools for a fraction of the cost annually to what they're spending right now as far as splits and fees and royalties and franchise fees and all that kind of stuff.
Plus the ability to get stock awards, revenue share, et cetera. Uh, so, so let me ask a question about sports and entertainment. You said EXP has a sports and entertainment division. This is the
It's
first
not a
I'm
it's
hearing it.
Yeah, it's not an official division from EXP. It's a network of agents similar to what I was saying,
So
Compass.
it's in our workplace
It's in Workplace. Yeah, it's
universe.
called SEIN, if I'm not mistaken, Sports and Entertainment Network or
Network.
something. SEIN, I
Okay,
think is the acronym.
I'll join it today if
Yeah.
they'll allow me in.
Yep. I think if you have any sports and entertainment sales background, you will be welcome in.
What's interesting, and I think it needs to be said, luxury or sports and entertainment, these are all niches that people can go into.
Right.
And people, any kind of agent, if they choose a niche, say it's your little town and you want to do every house in that little town, that's absolutely great for your business. You can do this. But there are people who aspire to other stuff, and luxury is a whole different language. I often tell people, if your client is upset with you at a luxury situation, they're never going to yell at you. You're going to hear from a lawyer, somebody else,
Yeah,
and you definitely don't want that. But somebody in a regular, they're fighting for every penny. They're every nickel. And it's just a different language. And so if you don't understand that language, you need to get some training. And this training is absolutely essential. And
yeah,
even if you don't go into the certification program, there's enough on Workplace. Workplace is a place where EXP agents can share information, talk, ask questions, let alone going into Meta World, where you can do the same thing. Um,
right.
so it's a niche, but it's a great niche. You know,
The one thing I like about luxury is and even if you don't do all your properties at a luxury price point, I think in a shifting market, it's good to have some properties in a
right,
mid price point because it allows you to be a little bit more nimble. If a market shifts drastically, you
sure,
can shift down in price. If it grows, you can shift up in price.
right,
So that's also one reason why I am always a big proponent of developing at least one specialty niche. For me, when I lived in South Florida, it was equestrian properties. Since I moved to Northeast Florida, it's been historic properties, but some people do waterfront properties, golf properties, fly-in properties, sports and entertainment. That's not a property niche, but it's a property buyer or seller
sure,
niche. Young doctors is a type of person niche. So
right,
I think niches are one of the easiest ways to grow your business faster and further. And
exactly.
especially if you find a niche that has properties at different price points along the scale, that keeps you nimble during any shifting times.
Exactly. Exactly. It is wonderful to figure out as an agent what you are, who you are, and work at that. This is one of those things, and the beauty of being a luxury agent is you don't have to do 120 properties. If
Right,
each property is even just at the lowest level $1 million, that's 20 million in sales. For
right.
many, many, many agents, that would be a bonus year for them. Uh,
Absolutely.
for a luxury
What,
agent,
what,
that
what was the math on that? A million is 20? What?
I think he's saying 20 million
Oh,
production.
yeah, yeah,
oh,
20,
20 million in production. Oh,
yeah,
could be a million in
yeah.
your pocket. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
absolutely. 20
that
million
would
in
work.
production over a year is a very significant business. And it's
It
a
is.
lot easier
So,
to handle 20 sales over the course of a year than 50 or 100, which
so,
some
so
people do, but that's a grind. That is a
let,
grind.
let's talk about our careers. You had your own company. I had my own company.
Yeah,
We pretty much still have our own companies, even though we're on the EXP platform. And you've worked as a manager for Sotheby's and Compass. Could you see yourself pivot to something other than EXP or what you're doing right now
no,
in your future?
no, and I really wish I had pivoted to EXP a whole lot earlier. Although, hindsight's always 50-50. No, absolutely not, because the EXP model, especially for people who really take it fully and build on it and don't just replace one brokerage with another brokerage name, but don't take advantage of all the model benefits. And by that, I mean the revenue share, the organization building, the stock things. Um, this allows me to have the creativity and the flexibility of having my own brokerage without the headache of having my own brokerage, which is significant, as you know, and without the worry as much at all. When you have your own brokerage, agents are always coming and going. They're always shopping for the next deal, all those things. EXP is a very sticky platform. If you attract and train and onboard agents properly, they're not going to want to leave. They're going to grow. And even if they're no longer doing deals with you, like they came on as part of your team, if you have a team, they still stay in your world in the EXP model. And I would never replace that. And like I said, if anything, I would go back earlier and change, but hindsight's always 50-50. So.
Yeah, because when we're doing it, we're licensed in a state.
Right.
Even if you have your own business, there's a limit, to how many licenses you can have. I stepped up to 2 or 3, 4 licenses in multiple states. As soon as I joined eXp, I'm basically 50 states, multiple countries, um, where I would just draw people into my team from the local zip codes or cities around Boston. Today it's New Mexico, Oregon, Maryland, and so on.
Yep.
And that's just today. I actually bring people in from other states, seems more than I do from my backyard. So that was all opportunity missed for all those years
Right.
that I never knew. And I think a lot of agents, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to try to understand it. They don't want to learn. And it's a shame because they're going to look back and they're going, I thought Jim was crazy. I thought Janie was crazy. I thought Larry was crazy. What are they doing? What's this eXp thing? And then they say, boy, I wish I had just had a cup of coffee with them. It wouldn't have been the craziest thing just to hang out for half an hour and chat, right? I
Yeah,
don't.
I think that we meet people where they are. And just like I think you and I were both introduced to eXp 10 years ago, and we weren't there yet. So,
Well, in truth, it wasn't there yet either.
yeah.
You know, there is something about what has happened with it. It's
Hmm.
not like they had a great idea and it failed. There are a lot of great ideas that fail.
Right.
We can talk about some companies right now that are great ideas, and there's some of them are publicly traded, and they're going to fail. You
Yeah.
know,
Wow. Uh, Janie, how would people get in touch with you, whether they want to get more information about this or anything related to these kinds of real estate and EXP topics?
I think the easiest thing is just to follow me on Instagram, which is Janie, JANIEC for coffee, Janie C. Um, that's the easiest. They can connect with me that way. I have some luxury training courses coming up, so they could just message me on Instagram and I'll add them to my um, mailing list when that luxury program comes up. It'll be this spring, and this is available to everybody, not just eXp agents. Um, and that would be the easiest way. But I think we have such a huge opportunity right now for those of us wishing to build more market share in the luxury space in these shifting times, because buyers are going to have a better time buying right now. More sellers are going to be um, coming off the market expired. So that's an opportunity to jump in and add some value. So there's lots of ways to boost our business right now that we haven't had for the last 2 years. So,
I have one last question, Jada.
uh-huh.
I mean, you know who all the players are, and let's just talk about serious contenders, and we know the brand names or the publicly traded companies, and we've mentioned a few here. Uh, could you imagine any of them being able to change their business model enough to to give the agents what eXp is giving them
No.
at this
Um,
point?
if they're already an established brokerage, no chance whatsoever, because eXp was the first completely cloud-based brokerage, and by being cloud-based, that's how they're able to um, have a revenue sharing program where 50% of the company revenue goes right back out to the agents that help the company grow. It's not franchised and it's cloud based, so they don't have the interwoven kind of intricacies and complications of being franchised, and they don't have all that massive expense of all the offices and the rent and the managers and all of that stuff. There are some EXP model replicators, let's call them that.
That'll be another show, and that'll be an interesting show because you've done some amazing analytical deep dives into the
Yeah.
comparisons, and I'm fascinated about the work you've done on that. So
Thank
we
you.
on the next show,
Okay.
let's plan that, like second quarter or something like that
Got
for
it.
sure. yeah,
But my
little
point
key.
with them,
Yeah.
and I'll let you go, is the replicators. EXP has become basically like the warship, like the battle hardened warship, and it's moving and waves are parting. It's breaking through ice. It can get through any environment in economy because our expenses are so lean because we're cloud based, and we have the draft of this worship now behind us. With we're approaching 100,000 agents. These replicators, let's call them, even the one that's would be the biggest replicator, it's nearly the same age, and they have less than a tenth of the agent count. They just can't seem to get the traction. They can't seem to get the build. And then the other ones I've looked into just don't have a long-term viable plan, like business plan, that I don't think is going to make it. So no, I don't see anybody.
The funny thing is, you mentioned this one that's a tenth the size, and I don't even want to know on the show. I don't want to give them any kind of free advertising, but I know just about every company out there. It doesn't just come right to mind what it was. No, that's why I mentioned it.
Well, when you're a tenth the size, I mean, that's pretty small brokerage. So
I say this every week. These shows don't last long enough, but we're up against our time. Thank you so much, Janie Coffey.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for being here with Jim Lowenstern and myself, Larry Laufer, on the Exponential Files. We will see you next week when we'll provide you more information. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Janie.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Larry.